From above, the Rockefeller Museum in Jerusalem is a study in rigid mathematical order. A central eight-sided tower anchors a layout of symmetrical wings and a long rectangular courtyard. Walk through the main doors today, and the air feels heavy. The core exhibition halls haven't been updated since 1938. The original display cases, the layout, even the lighting fixtures, all of it remains exactly as it was when it first opened. The building forces a very specific physical connection to the past. The floors of the convention halls are lined with acoustic cork, designed to absorb the sound of crowded rooms. Out in the galleries, 4,000-year-old stone artifacts sit entirely exposed, completely open for anyone to walk right up and touch. Yet almost no one is here to touch them. During the Mandate era, British guards stood watch over these collections. Today, those same halls are silent, holding an immense concentration of the region's history, with almost zero foot traffic. Step into the Grand Convention Hall and you'll find the wooden desks and original velvet curtains sitting exactly where they were left. The podium still holds a panoscopium, an antique overhead slide projector abandoned to gather dust in the dark. This physical stillness is the core of the Rockefeller paradox. The museum was built to organize the region's chaotic layers of history into a permanent ordered structure, but that rigid design eventually turned the building into a prisoner of the very timeline it tried to contain. The artifacts inside the galleries are physical markers of how different powers have historically attempted to hold this exact land. Some of the oldest pieces on display are massive basalt steles carved in the Bronze Age. These stones were hauled out of Bejan, an ancient settlement located further north. They bear the heavy, distinct marks of conquering Egyptian forces, specifically the powerful pharaohs Seti I and later Ramses III. Local artisans were conscripted to carve these monuments, but they weren't making art. When a local town rebelled against the Egyptian empire, the pharaohs would relentlessly dispatch military campaigns to crush the uprising. They killed the dissenters and erected these massive stones right on top of the ruins to serve as a permanent warning against future defiance. Millennia later, the British Empire arrived to govern the exact same territory. Publicly, the British maintained a delicate political correctness, claiming that Jerusalem simply belonged to everyone. Behind closed doors, they were setting up institutions to secure their own presence in the city. To secure funding for the museum, British officials hired Kim Heler, a local Jewish artist trained at the Bezalel Academy. He meticulously built a scale model of the complex, pitching a space where the region's history, from creation to the coming of the Kingdom of Heaven, would be curated under British oversight. That vision of peaceful curation was short-lived. Between 1936 and 1939, the Arab Revolt broke out, and the British administration responded immediately with large-scale, harsh military suppression. To maintain order, British forces began constructing a network of fortified police stations, known as Tigert citadels, across the entire landscape to lock down the territory by force. By 1948, the British Mandate collapsed, and imperial forces hastily evacuated. They left the Rockefeller Museum physically incomplete, its planned external arcades forever unbuilt. Like the Egyptians before them, an empire was forced out, leaving only unfinished architectural question marks. A new chapter started after 1967. Israeli archaeologists gained access to the area and immediately launched a massive wave of excavations, uncovering dense layers of history right beneath the Jewish quarter of the Old City. The Rockefeller Museum briefly came back to life. That dusty VIP convention hall transformed into a buzzing, standing-room-only hub, packed with locals eager to see the artifacts being pulled from the ground. Posters went up across the city advertising these lectures. Legendary researchers like Nahum Avigad would take the stage to project images of their latest discoveries, revealing the ancient Herodian layers of the city to the modern public. But while the researchers were uncovering completely new narratives outside, inside the museum itself, they touched almost nothing. The Israeli curators left the 1938 British exhibition design intact, honoring the original layout piece by piece. They only made one single major change. Out in the field, teams discovered the original ancient podiums that the large stone steles rested on. When they reattached the bases, the monuments became too tall to fit inside the old wall niches, forcing the curators to finally move them out onto the floor. That burst of energy in the 1970s was a brief window of academic triumph. It was a brand new cultural footprint laid directly over a rigid, pre-existing framework left by the previous British administration. Today, the crowds are gone. The Antiquities Authority moved its main operations to a new campus, leaving the Rockefeller's convention hall and exhibition wings entirely deserted. This map shows why the building sits empty. Located in eastern Jerusalem, it sits just over the political border known as the Green Line. Left-wing citizens avoid it because of this boundary, while right-wing citizens avoid the trip out of safety concerns. With international tourists also staying away, the grand courtyard of this world-class archaeological site has taken on a mundane new function. Residents of the dense old city simply use the empty space as a convenient place to park their cars. The museum houses thousands of years of regional history, but it is now defined by a single 20th-century political line. It stands as a silent monument to Jerusalem's enduring, unbroken divides, paralyzed by the very geography it was built to oversee.